You ever feel overwhelmed with art? Watching videos that telling you to level up your line quality, perspective knowledge, shape, understanding, composition, shading, lighting, coloring, or the most egregious of them all, just see, bro. Art isn't some magical thing reserved only for those who have the sauce. It's for everyone. You ever play an RPG and you sit in the character selection screen forever, optimizing your build? In this video, I'll give you a general overview of the skills you need to hit your optimal art build, so to speak. Stick around to the end to see the path I took to learn art and different paths you can take. Before all of this though, you need some sort of goal. Do you want to make characters? Do you want to make elaborate environments and worlds? Do you want to do it by painting? Do you want to draw? What medium do you want to use? Do you want to do it by doing digital art? Or do you want to do more traditional media like water painting? Find art, point at it and say, I want to create something like this. And have this in mind when we look at the fundamentals and focus on what will get you to that point. Lines. The act of placing a line or a brushstroke on a blank canvas. These lines can be straight, they can be curved, they can tell their own story. They are also used to connect different shapes, they're used to add form and to place emphasis. This is what most people think about when they think about art, and it's the basis of art. Perception. The act of seeing what is already there through proper perception. I know, I just said just see, bro. We'll say whack advice, but actually seeing is about the perception of edges, space, relationships, lights and shadow, and the perception of the whole, or gestalt. In general terms, it's comparison. The angle of this line compared to this. A great tip is to use your pencil. Do not break 2D, like don't stab into the paper, and compare the different edges of the walls in your room. Do it now. Are they as you expected? Shapes and forms. The 2D shapes or the 3D forms. The 2D shapes like circles, triangles, and squares are shapes. Shapes you choose in your piece convey different things, like square is standard, rugged, consistent, boring. That's why we call people who do it by the book for squares. Forms are when you apply perspective, another skill, to your shapes and make them 3D. They are very important for construction. Any complex shape and form can be simplified into the fundamental shapes and forms. Squares or cubes, triangles and pyramids, circles and spheres. Perspective. The act of creating the illusion of depth through lines, shape and form. There are different types of perspectives like 2-point perspective, 3-point perspective. They're all used in general to create a depth of field to your art piece. Values. Values from black to white. You can use values and shading to add depth to your art piece. You can also use it to create a contrast in your art piece. Values make your art piece come to life and make it more realistic. Color. The different hues, saturation, and lightness of a color. Color theory can be used to enhance different aspects of your art piece. You can use complementary colors or analogous colors to make different parts of your art piece stand out. Colors also have a temperature, either cool or warm. Both of these can be used to enhance the mood of the art piece. You can even use a contrast between cool and warm colors to make your art piece pop more. Lastly, we have composition, the placement of different shapes and forms. The golden ratio and rule of thirds are two different ways to place things in your art piece. They can be used to highlight the focal points. You can also do things like repetition, emphasis, and so on to focus on different aspects of your art piece. Now, since I've gone through all of the fundamentals, some of you might complain that anatomy is not there. And it's one of my honorable mentions, along with the medium of your choice. But they are not completely necessary to make art, and anatomy is not as important for you depending on what you want to focus on. And of course, the medium of choice is up to each individual artist, although I kinda do recommend starting off with traditional first. Now, You've seen what I consider to be the all-time fundamentals of art. Where do you start? I'd say, just like in a game, you can't optimize for everything, at least right away. Depending on where you want to go next with art, you choose a goal and practice towards that goal while applying what you learn. I did say I would show you my path and some paths you can take for yourself. So now, here are some paths you can take. There are a whole bunch, but these are some simple ones. FYI, all these paths still need all the other fundamentals to be at a certain level. It just means you put your primary focus on what gets you closer to your goal. The character creator. You mainly focus on perception, lines, shape, and form. And it's for those who want to create a vast array of different cool characters. The main practice you can do for this is head drawings, figure drawings, gesture drawing, and value studies. The world builder. Mainly focuses on composition, perspective, values, and color. For those who want to create beautiful worlds, the main practice you can do is thumbnail composition practice with and without colors, perspective drawing, and environment studies. The naturalist. Mainly focuses on perception, shape, form, lines, and values. It's for those who want to create flowers of all kinds, vegetation, nature, and so on. And the main practices here are still lifes and value studies. I personally went the path of the character creator, portraits mainly. So I focused on my lines, perception, shapes, and form. I also did some figure drawing and anatomy to supplement these. Later down the line, since I wanted to create more finished pieces and not just line work, I started practicing values and colors as well. I made a curriculum to practice art very early in my art career, and I'm posting the link to that down below, in addition to other relevant resources to practice art. Holla at me if y'all want a curriculum for the rest of the paths, or if you want me to go more in depth on any of the fundamentals in a future video. If you want to support me, I'm doing portrait commissions on Artistry. Check me out if you like. And thanks for watching.